News 8, your local news source. This is breaking news.
We're following breaking news tonight in Indianapolis. Indiana State Police detained several people after a shooting on I-65 this afternoon that has left one man in critical condition at Eskenazi Hospital. It happened by the 29th Street exit just outside downtown. That's where we find News 8's Eric Feldman, who has more on how police were able to track down the people they detained so quickly. Eric.
David, good evening. The scene wasn't even cleared at 29th and I-65 North when IMPD and state police were at 38th and Guyan Road for another scene where they detained several people who they believe were connected to this I-65 shooting. So what does it mean by detained? It means that they could be suspects, they could be people of interest, or they could simply be witnesses. Right now, we don't know, but we do know that state police are talking with all of those people. We also know that the victim here, this man, was shot in critical condition right now at Eskenazi Hospital. So I'm going to tell you about the latest about what we know about what led up to the shooting. It happened around 4:30 on I-65, as I mentioned, by the 29th Street exit. State police say some sort of argument inside a car driving northbound led to the shooting. And when we first brought you this story on Facebook Live, a lot of you were responding, saying how horrible it is that this happened on Christmas Eve and that this should be a happy one, spending with friends and family. We did also talk with state police about how dangerous this could have been. I mean, think about it. A car traveling on the interstate, some sort of argument breaking out, and with plenty of other people traveling to get their holidays started, the risk not only for the people in the car where the shooting happened, but with everyone else driving on the interstate.
Innocent motorist who had nothing to do with that. The bullet could have went into their car and struck them, and again, that could have caused a multi-vehicle crash. We could have multiple injuries and so forth. So that part, thank goodness, did not occur.
State police have 2 cars in their possession that they believe are involved in this shooting investigation. Again, at this point, no one has been arrested. The man shot is in critical condition, but if we do get any new information, we'll be sure to let you know. I'm live downtown. Eric Feldman, Wish TV News 8.
Eric, thank you. We could see some snow to start Christmas, but it won't be around long as things warm up. Wish TV Chief Meteorologist Ashley Brown is here now. Ashley, will we see any sunshine on Christmas Day?
You know, I think we'll see a little filtering through the clouds. The clouds will definitely stay out there for us. We'll get some sunshine at times, but those clouds staying around. All right, so we'll start out tonight talking about the clouds that's thickening in the atmosphere. Mostly cloudy skies for us for most of the night. This increase in moisture, a sign of the increase in moisture that we'll see tomorrow, and that will fall as precipitation for some of us. So mostly cloudy skies. We're locked in right now. You can't see it out there, right? But what we see is that the temperatures are hovering, and when temperatures holding steady, usually that means we have quite a bit of cloud cover. So 34 degrees right now. It feels like 34. Wind light as a result. Not much of a wind chill here for you tonight. Overnight, I think most of us will see temperatures fall to the low 30s and upper 20s. You can see we see those temperatures at 32 for most of the overnight hours. By about 3 a.m., you notice the rain icon starts to pop up because with temperatures at 33, that would fall as light rain or drizzle. But I think we're going to have temperatures fluctuating between about 30 and 34. As a result, a little rain snow mix early tomorrow morning and a few flurries will fly. Temperatures dipping down to the low 30s, but it will feel like the 20s tomorrow morning, so feeling much colder than the actual temperature here. By the time we get to around 11 o'clock, we diminish any chance of rain. Temperatures start to warm up. We're in the upper 30s, but it still feels like the low 30s. Overall, by tomorrow afternoon, I think we'll see a high temperature of about 44 degrees. Back to you.
Thank you, Ashley. Keep up with the weather with the Storm Track 8 app. It gives you easy access to current conditions and our forecast and live interactive radar. It's free for iPhone and Android. Just head on over to your app store. Christmas Eve crash. The Dow dropped more than 650 points, making it the biggest Christmas Eve plunge in market history for both the Dow and the S&P 500. Mark Maloney reports this comes as the third government shutdown of the year doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon.
'Twas the day before Christmas, and all through the White House, President Trump is stirring, tweeting, "I am all alone, poor me," in the White House, waiting for the Democrats to come back and make a deal on desperately needed border security. Border security, specifically building a wall between the United States and Mexico, is the sticking point between Congress and the president, who must make a deal to reopen the government.
I'm not going to give the president a billion or $2 billion or $5 billion slush fund until he tells us precisely where and how that money is going to be used.
The partial government shutdown hitting about 800,000 federal workers hard during the holidays. More than 420,000 are working without pay, and another 380,000 are furloughed and forced to stay home. The first time the Senate could vote to end the shutdown is Thursday, but a deal may not come until after the new year.
It's very possible that this shutdown will go beyond the 28th and into the new Congress.
Meanwhile, spooked investors drove the Dow to the biggest Christmas Eve crash in history. The president blaming the Fed, tweeting, "The only problem our economy has is the Fed. They don't have a feel for the market." Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer criticizing the president, saying it's Christmas Eve and President Trump is plunging the country into chaos. The stock market is tanking and the president is waging a personal war on the Federal Reserve. While the president started Christmas Eve alone, he will finish it with his family. The First Lady and Barron Trump left Florida Monday for Christmas in Washington. In Washington, I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
A temporary tent-like facility in Texas set up to house mostly kids who showed up at the border unaccompanied will close down after the last child is released. That's according to a source with the knowledge of operations there. The source said the faculty in Tornillo is no longer accepting children and will close after the last child is released to either a sponsor or another facility run by the Office of Refugee Resettlement. The source says the facility has not extended its contract with the federal government, and while its contract expires on December 31st, it does not have an exact closing date. The source says the facility currently has around 2,400 children. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is up and working as she recuperates from cancer surgery. A spokeswoman for the court says Ginsburg remained in New York at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center on Sunday. No information is released on when Ginsburg might return home. Ginsburg had surgery Friday to remove 2 malignant growths in her left lung. Doctors say there is no evidence of any remaining disease. The court next meets on January 7th. A judge has awarded $500 million to the parents of Otto Warmbier in their wrongful death lawsuit against North Korea. The 22-year-old student was detained in 2016. He was trying to return to the U.S. from a tour of North Korea. At the time, he was held for 17 months in detention before being let go. Last week, Warmbier's family testified that Otto was returned to them with, quote, severe brain damage and was, quote, in a non-responsive state. He died 6 days later. North Korea reportedly denied Warmbier was tortured while in their custody. The CDC reporting America's opioid crisis has only gotten worse. The one bright spot, though, in the newly released numbers. Actor Kevin Spacey to be arraigned in January, the allegations he's facing as he makes his first social media post in more than a year.